everyone. Welcome to Cabbage Patch Soap. My name is Laura, and today we are going to be fixing a batch of soap that didn't quite go according to plan. I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes to get in here. What I'm doing right now is I have my soap molds, and I had just had these washed, so they are wet still. It's these right here. And what I'm doing is I'm just drying them with a towel. So I'm just going to get these dry so that we can put soap into them again. All right. I'm also going to be fixing my chats to make sure I can see everything. So if you already posted something, I might not have seen it. I'm just fixing the chats now. Okay, I don't think we're going to need all, well, you never know, but I don't think I'm going to need all of these molds. But I will dry them all just in case. Leaving the molds wet won't hurt anything really. It just means that, that part of the soap will, whatever part of the soap batter that touches the water in the mold is going to be a little bit softer until it cures, because it'll, absorb a little water. But other than that, it's basically harmless. So I'm just stacking these here as I dry them. Hi, Lorna, welcome. Hi, Stacy, welcome. I'm just drying off these molds because I have to have these ready to go when we start mixing the batter, because I won't have time to dry them after. So let me just tell you a little bit about what happened so that you'll understand when I start to show you all the things. I have a wholesale customer who needed a bunch of soap made, but she likes these oval shaped molds. So she gave me the molds, and I've been making soap for her for a while. So this is what the molds look like. They have these oval bars, oval cavities for bars. And anyway, so we make her soap and we pour it into these. And I think I've talked about these styles of molds before. They're made out of this stiff plastic, kind of similar to what like a chocolate mold might look like. And they're great for making shapes. You can put the soap tray, like this whole tray of, you can put this whole tray of molds, like cavities, the whole thing can go like in the freezer. And then that helps the soap pop out real easy. But the downside is that, as you can see, this huge like piece only has 4 soap cavities. If they had turned them all this way, they might have been able to fit like maybe 6. So it's really inefficient and takes up a lot of space. And also these molds tend to break down over time. So after, depending on how often you use them, after a few months or a few years, they will be really, really brittle. They turn yellow, which doesn't affect the soap. But once they start turning yellow, that's when they start cracking. And there are times where I make soap and I'm pulling the soap out of the mold and the mold cracks, and then I can no longer use the broken cavity. And sometimes because of that, like for example, if this one were to break off, now it's all off center and I can't use the other ones either unless I prop up this side of the mold somehow. So there's good and bad to these. I mean, the good part is they're relatively inexpensive. You can make shapes, like I said, and you can put these in the freezer real easy. And for just making a few bars once in a while, they're totally fine. But um, you know, if you're looking for something really long lasting and durable, they're not the best option. But I haven't really found a replacement except for the silicone style, which are a little bit more durable, but they cost, usually 4 or 5 times as much money. So it just depends on, how much you want to spend. But they're good molds while they're working. I'm trying to see if I have an example. Yeah, so like see on this one, I haven't dried this one yet, but you can see this whole edge here is yellowing. That's because the it was like that when I got it, and it's that way because the way it was stored, some light got to this and it made this side really brittle. This side is still okay. So as long as I'm gentle with it, they'll still last a while. But anyway, what happened was, um, I made the bars. I had made 3 sets of bars in different fragrances, and for some reason, this last batch just it accelerated, and it may have been the fragrance, but it accelerated, and then the bars came out looking really rough. I mean, they were totally fine and usable, but they just didn't look pretty. And I didn't want to leave it that way because I'm gonna. I was gonna put this face shield on, but I'll wait until we get to that point. I'm gonna get gloves on. But anyways, they looked really rough, and since she sells these soaps in person, I didn't want to, leave her with soaps that just wouldn't they would stand out on her table. If she was going for the rustic look or something, it would have been fine, but they were just so rough that I just decided to fix them. And there's a couple different ways you can fix that kind of soap. The easiest way for me is to like make them into shreds and turn them into like a confetti soap. Um, but she already has a couple different confetti soap designs, and I didn't want them to get all confused. So instead, I decided to use a method that's similar to French milling. And what that is a French milled soap is a soap that's been put through like iron rollers or steel rollers, and it makes the soap like feel smoother in the hands. And usually it goes through 3 times. And I don't have giant steel rollers, so I used a little bit different method, which I'll demonstrate for you. I saved a little bit of the soap so I can show you how it works. Um, just 1 second here. I'm just pulling up the chats real quick to make sure I can see them. It'll just take me a minute here. As soon as I find it, okay. I hope everybody had a good weekend. It was pretty good here, so okay. So what I did was I cut the bars up. That's why this is here. I cut them up, and then I shredded them, and then I shredded them a second time. So like I said, I don't have steel rollers, but I do have something I can use to shred soap. So this is a little bit different than like the little soap shreds I get when I plane and bevel my soap. This is putting the entire bar through a shredder, and you end up with light fluffy pieces of soap. And then what we'll do is we'll mix it into a new soap batter and then just re-pour the bars. So hi Patty, welcome. Yes, Daisy. Yeah, it is a lot of wasted space. I think those molds are really intended for people who just want to do soap as a hobby. They don't really expect you to produce thousands of bars with these. But I mean, like I said, they work, and she doesn't normally need thousands of bars at a time. So um, if it ever came to that, we'd have to probably have some soap molds custom made for her because I would literally just run out of places, like run out of spaces, like level space to set the molds down onto. Um, but this is what the little fluffy soap shreds look like. They've been passed through the shredder twice so that they look like this. It's a little bit closer to what like a French milled soap would be. But the other difference is a French milled soap, once it's milled, it gets put into a press usually, and that's how they form it back into bars. This won't be going through a press. We're going to be putting it into a new batch of soap batter, and then that will be poured into the molds again because I don't have the metal press for the soap bars. Otherwise, I could do it that way. So these are 2 halves of 2 different bars. So this bar, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's got a little bit of like rough edge here. And then this was the top, and you can see it just sort of sink down. It just didn't look good. You can see on the inside it's fine. It just doesn't look really nice on the outside. And these were the bars. These ones were the ones that were really bad. They were really craggy. I think it looks kind of cool, but for her customers and her way of, her other soap bars, they would have stood out and not in a good way. So um, that's what they looked like before I started grinding them up. And I did all the other ones already because it just takes a while, and I didn't want you to have to sit through all of that. So what I use to grind them up, I'm sure some of you have heard of this before. It's called a salad shooter. And the way this works is the soap goes down here. There's like some blades down there. I think you can see it's like a cheese grater almost, and it grates up the soap and it comes out here out the front. And then what I do is after I grate it up, I put the pieces back in here. We grate it again, and it goes into this bowl. So this is going to be a little bit loud, but I want to show you what that looks like. So this is the first container that it's going to go in. Let me just move this. Here we go. And then these two pieces of soap just go in here like this. And okay, that's fine. It's a little bit, I was able to get both before, so there we go, that's better. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll turn this on, and then it has this little tamper thing that you can push down to make the soap go down. So headset warning real quick, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. We'll put the pieces in here, the shreds. You'll get to see what it looks like in the shreds. They'll put the shreds back in here, and I'll turn it into this like more small pieces. So move this closer. Okay, so that's the first step. And you can see how it looks kind of like little shreds, right? And the pieces, look a lot bigger in here than in here. And I want the pieces smaller. Um, so what I do now is I just take the pieces out of here and put them back into the salad shooter. And this salad shooter I only use for my soap. It's never been used on food or anything. It's strictly used to grate up my soap. I've only ever had to use it a couple of times. So, I mean, that's good. But it is fun to use if you want to do special effects with the soap, if you want to do like, I don't know, like little layered colored pieces or something. Um, so we'll see how the soap looks, after we do all this and make the new batch. Hopefully it'll look a little bit better. Let's see here. What are you saying? Yeah, little blue worms. Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grate this into the next bowl. And we'll see how the little pieces look now. They should be smaller. Okay, so that's all shredded. You can see in here it does a pretty good job. There's not a whole lot of soap left in there or anything, so there's very little waste. And this way, you don't have to feel like you're throwing away your soap or anything. You're just making a new type of soap instead. I'm going to unplug this just so that it's not in the way. All right, so that's unplugged. We're done with that. And that's what I did with all those bars. I had a whole bunch of bars. I'm hoping that the soap batter that I make is going to be enough for all these pieces, but I have a feeling I might have too many shreds. So what I'm going to do is mix up the soap batter. We'll pour it into here, and we'll just add shreds until I think it's at a good enough consistency to pour into the molds. And then I can save the soap shreds for another project. The soap shreds are still soft enough that if I wanted to, um, I could mold them into like little shapes and make things out of them. So they're still really mushy and pliable. So we'll leave that there. But this should give the soap a really nice feel because the pieces were ground up a couple of times. So I'm just getting rid of all these little shreds off the table. Okay. Move the knife. So the color, I want to try to make the color match the shreds as much as possible. That way um, it'll just look really nice and uniform. The blue I used is this one. It's called Klein Blue by Nurture Soap. And then I put a little bit of titanium dioxide in there to make it look a little bit whiter, a little lighter color blue. Because I'm trying to keep the colors consistent. Whenever I make this fragrance of soap for her, it's always a blue color. And I'm just going to use this to mix it into the oils. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure that this gets really well dissolved into the oil. So you can see it's too dark, and that's how it's supposed to look. And then I got the white here. And I'm just going to, oops. Okay, I'm just going to add some white. Oops, it's not coming out. Probably from when I added it earlier to this. I just refilled this, so let me just pulling this out real quick. I'll just I'm going to pour in a little bit. The end, there's a little bit of the titanium dioxide stuck in the end because I had just mixed this. So there. Okay, good enough. All right, let's see. Okay, you can see already that's a lot closer in color. Let me just blend it and see how it looks. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, so it'll also probably be a little lighter or change a little when I add the lye. Rainbow worms, yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah, rainbow worms would be a lot of fun. Let me put on my face shield real quick, so I have to take the headset off. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and add the lye water to this, and I'm just gonna mix it enough to where it shouldn't separate. I don't want a thick trace if I can avoid it. It doesn't feel, the oils don't feel warm anymore, so that's good. After that, we'll pour it into here so I can add the shreds because they're not going to fit in here, obviously. And then I will put them into the molds. If I have to do a couple batches of this later in the week, I will, but hopefully I can get enough. I mean, this will make, just this with the shreds will make several bars, and she's already going to end up with like more of this than she originally needed because, I'm adding a whole pound of oils to the recipe already, so it'll make plenty of bars is what I'm saying. But okay. And yeah, see how that the lye water lightens it? See, that's really, really close, so that's good. Okay, so that's really getting thick. So let me go ahead and stop while I'm ahead. Okay. All right, so let's pour this into here. And then what I'll do, there we go. I'm gonna scrape all this out, and then we'll start adding the shreds. Plural worms, yes. Many, many rainbow worms. That'd be kind of a fun project, I think. Rainbow worm soap. It'd have to be candy scented or something. All right, so let's start pouring shreds in here. All right. This is already really kind of, oh, I think we could fit some more in there. That looks really cool though. Whoops, getting a splash to myself. Move all these shreds. Okay, but see how you can tell they're sort of sinking to the bottom. That's fine because it's better to have it that way than to have this too thick to pour. So I'm going to add some more. It's kind of like baking a cake and you're adding the wet and dry ingredients or maybe cookies or something, and it like looks like it's going to be too thick to stir. Okay, a little bit more. Also, air bubbles, because these shreds are light and fluffy, so they take up more space than they look like they take up a lot of space because there's so much air, but I think once the batter fills in those spaces, hopefully. Okay, that's about as much as I can add, I think. Let's find out. Okay. All right. Because I don't want these to look completely rugged like the last batch. That would defeat the purpose of all this. But I think if you can see how it's settling out, I think it's going to be okay. But if not, I can just remake the soap. But I just wanted to show you guys, since this happened, I thought this would be a great opportunity. Kind of show you like behind the scenes what happens if a soap batch doesn't work out, or whatever, what things you can do to fix it, because there was nothing technically wrong with these bars. They were really good soap and they turned out really, really nice as far as the recipe and the smell and the color, and everything was fine. It's just they looked rugged, which is not what her other bars look like. So it would have just, like I said, they would have just stood out. And I think comparing them to her other bars, people would probably wonder what was wrong with these. Even though, like I said, there's nothing wrong. It's just how they looked. So rather than confusing her or not her, because she knows, but rather than confusing her customers and stuff, I thought we would just do this. And already these are looking better because they wouldn't even level out before, because they were just so, the batter, I don't know, I think it either accelerated or the fragrance did something funny. Every now and then we run into a fragrance that she has that does that, and we just have to work around it. But unfortunately, it was the last batch in a three batch project I was doing for her, so it was sort of too late to fix by the time I realized what was happening. Because I usually make her soaps 3 batches at a time. So yeah, because she'll usually need several all at once. She doesn't just need I just want this one fragrance. Normally she needs several at one time, and it's just more efficient for me to just do them all at once. So I'm gonna have to move this thing. It's in my way. All right, there we go. That's better. But you can see how this is already these molds, like what we were talking about before, how much space they take up. This is already getting to where, whoops, overfilled those. I already need more space to put them down, but if they had 2 more cavities in them, this wouldn't be a problem. Let me just scrape this out into the bowl. It is way too much. I don't normally make her soap on camera, so this is a little bit, I apologize if it's not as smooth going as usual. Okay. Oh, this last one here is a little bit overflowed. Okay, there we go. Okay. So what I try to do when I start running out of space like this is I stack them this way, kind of, I don't know, turned a little bit. All right, I'm trying to pour this in. I'm sorry, I can't check the chat just yet, but as soon as I get, this is the delicate part, because if I mess this up, then we're back to square one. So I'm just trying to get this done really quick. Okay. So far, that's 11 bars. I might be able to get 12 if I can get everything out of this bowl and then scrape over from the other 2 bars. But you can see how nice this looks compared to the craggy soaps I showed you before. Top secret though, I really want to make a craggy bar on purpose and make it look like lava or something. So don't tell anybody. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. Yeah, that bar is going to be a little bit small. She likes getting 1 bar that's too small anyway, because she likes to cut it up and use it as samples, so even the small bars don't get wasted. She likes them. But here we go. Oh, yeah, that came out almost perfect. So we got this bar, which is nice and smooth on top now. Let me Make sure that's full. Okay, we got a little bit off of here that we could scrape in. A little bit off of here. It almost looks like blue oatmeal or something. It looks familiar. There we go. All right. So just gonna see if there's any bars over here I can take something off of. Nope. Okay. It looks like it. It looks like it was almost perfectly 12. It was 11 bars plus this little bit. So that's plenty. And then I will either use these shreds to make her another. Maybe I can make her like a confetti soap as well, or I can make her more of the same. But she normally doesn't need this many of one fragrance, like 12. In most cases, I'm making, with her recipe, she gets about, between 6 and 8 bars per fragrance. So this is already more than she needs. And this just has to last her until summer. And this is along with all the other ones that I've already made for her. So, in fact, I can probably. No, I can't. I put them away. Darn. I was going to show them to you, but I already packed them up for her. But yeah, so that is rescuing a flawed batch of soap. So hopefully you guys found that interesting. I probably won't. Well, I might be able to unmold these. Maybe we can do that. I can plan on leaving these in the mold for a couple of days, and unmolding them on Thursday, so you can see the difference compared to the cragginess of the first batch. That might be fun. Let me take this mask off. Okay, there we go. Now I feel like I can breathe and see also, because this thing is hard to see out of. Yeah, exactly. Skittles. That's right, Stacy. But don't eat the soap. Definitely don't eat it. Yeah, now it looks like a cloud. Yes. Yeah, I've never had blue. Well, maybe I have. I don't think I've had blue oatmeal before. But you could just make oatmeal and put blue food dye in it. Just see. It's gonna taste the same though. That's the sad part. You'll be like, oh wow, it's blue oatmeal. It has to be better. It has to taste like nope, it's oatmeal. Um, Maybe if you added blueberries and smashed them up, but then it'd be purple. Because blueberries are misleading and they lie. They're not actually blue. But yeah, these shreds. What I want to do is like sprinkle it on top and make like a crumbly topping, but that's actually the bottom of the bars. Let me see if I can get her other bars down just so I can show you what they're supposed to look like. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I think I can. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me just show you. So they're supposed to be smoother looking than those ones I showed you. So, like this. See how it's got like a smooth top and sides? It has a little bit of overpour here, and what we do is just either she or I will trim those off. So like here's another one with a lot of overpour. See? We just trim that off, and then she can use those as testers, the trims, so that she can see what the soap, feels like and how it smells when you wash with it and all that. It gives that way she doesn't have to waste her own bars to do testers. So I leave the overpour on there for her when we have it. So, anyways, that is what we're doing today. So on Thursday we can go ahead and unmold these, and then on Thursday also either we will be doing the orange dual lye soap like we planned, or I'll be doing one of the other suggestions, but that's still up in the air. Mainly because the orange dual lye soap is going to take several days to complete. It's like a really slow process. So I'm trying to decide how I want to do that on the live because we'd have to do it in stages. But yeah. Hi, Ian. Welcome. Yes, we're eating soap. No, we're not eating soap. That's a lie. You were on the phone. I hope it was a good conversation. Yeah, Smurf. Yeah, Smurf Blue. Let me see what you're saying here. What flavor is it? It's the Skittles scent. The Skittles are. See, Ian, these are the little pieces of soap that we use the salad shooter to grind up, and then we mixed in this batter here and poured it into the molds. And also the bottom of these, since they're a little bit bumpy, all I have to do is plane that and it'll flatten. The other ones were too craggy. It would take way too much planing to get them flat. Yes, Skittles. Yes. We were thinking of making rainbow worms. Yes, Skittles Smurf worm flavor. It sounds so appetizing when you put it that way, Patty. It's exactly what we want. We should make like a slime flavor, like have like this collection of soaps that all have really terrible names. Name them things like, I don't know, slime and moldy cupboards, things like that. It'd be great. Spiders in the basement. Basically stuff nobody would ever want. I don't know. That might backfire. Or week old leftovers. Month old leftovers. Earwax. No, that's nasty. We don't need that in our soap. I don't even want to think about it. Sounds terrible. Alrighty, guys. So Thursday, like I said, we'll do either the orange soap or one of the other requests. I'm just gonna double check and see what we have on the list, and also figure out how we're gonna film the orange soap since it requires like it's a multi-day process. So we'll figure out how we're gonna do all that. I should not throw these by accident. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey, here's an example showing when I was talking earlier about how these ones break really easy. See what I mean? It like cracked here, and the crack is going around the edge. I can still technically use this cavity because the crack hasn't gone down into it yet, but when that does break, it's going to be lights out for this mold because once this breaks off, these ones won't stay level very well. So, anyways, okay. I guess enough social intel. Moldy cheese. I agree with you on the moldy cheese, but I know some people purposefully put mold on cheese. So I don't know what to do about that. People might think I'm talking about purposefully moldy cheese. Oh, I can make both. Like two types of moldy cheese. One smells good and one doesn't, and you don't know which one you're getting. That'd be terrible. I feel bad. I don't think I could do it. Feel bad for whoever gets the ones that stink. Although I used to have a gasoline scented fragrance oil. I should see if I still have it. That one actually smells like kind of good if you're into like diesel smells and stuff. Anyways, okay. I'm gonna go put these soaps away and clean up this mess I've created. And I will see you guys on Thursday. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you guys have a really great rest of your week. I'll see you guys Thursday.